As the University of Findlay celebrates its 140th anniversary of educating students and the community at large, the University of Findlay's Mazie Museum celebrates its 40th anniversary, promoting literacy and enriching the lives of all people through the art of picture books. We also reflect on the importance of recognizing and celebrating the historical milestones like Juneteenth and its meaning in our country today. Juneteenth, for short, June 19th, commemorates the day when federal troops arrived in Galveston, Texas in 1865 to ensure that all enslaved people be freed. Although the Emancipation Proclamation was passed in 1862, it took several years before the news would reach the entire population of enslaved persons. The longest-running African-American holiday, Juneteenth, was first celebrated in Texas in 1866, honoring the end of slavery in the United States. On June 17, 2021, Juneteenth officially became a federal holiday. The University of Findlay's Mazie Museum has original art by Floyd Cooper and Jerry Pinkney on display to recognize and celebrate Juneteenth. To also celebrate Juneteenth, the Mazie Museum has asked Dayton Cooper, the son of late author-illustrator Floyd Cooper, to share his dad's book, Juneteenth, for Mazie.
Hello, my name is Dayton Cooper, son of Floyd Cooper. And as incredibly talented as my dad was, with authoring, especially illustrating, unfortunately, most of those talents did not trickle my way. I've been passionate and driven towards technology and business and aviation, and I've been an entrepreneur since the age of 18. I have a loving wife and two sons, Nico and Noah, and I'm currently training to become a private pilot. But enough about myself. I want to talk about my father, Floyd Cooper, who unfortunately lost his battle to cancer in July of last year. But even so, his legacy and his impact on the world and the young minds of our future generations continues to live on, with over 30 years of work and over 100 books, all illustrating and recounting the many chapters of African American history that we cannot forget. So with that, I do want to read a quote from one of his 2016 interviews. And my dad said, "Right now, it's very important that we all get a grasp on what it is that can build bridges between us. I really do see children's books as a way to build those bridges early on." And I think that was his intention with this recent book that he's done, both authored and illustrated, Juneteenth, for Mazie. So Juneteenth is definitely a significant date in our history. I've known about it and read about it in school and in history, and that date, June 19th, 1865, was very significant for all of our slaves at the time, where they were granted a word that they could only dream of, which is freedom. And obviously things are a lot different now. Freedom means a bit differently to us now, but I believe with the recent events of the pandemic and the protests following the death of George Floyd, I think the words freedom and Juneteenth hit a bit differently for us now. The significance is definitely highlighted in our current generations, and I think we should pay more attention to it. So that was the intention of my dad writing this book. So I'd like to read this to you guys. Mazie wants to play outside, but it's too late. It's getting dark, Mazie. It's time to stay inside. Mazie wants a cookie, but it's time for bed. Not now, little one. It's too close to bedtime. Mazie wants to stay up late, but she is too little. Bedtime is the rule, sweet girl. Why so grumpy, sugar bear? Asks Dad. I can't go where I want, have what I want, or do what I want, answers Mazie. Well, tomorrow you can have a celebration, says Dad. What are we celebrating? Asks Mazie. We will celebrate the day your great-great-great-grandpa crossed into liberty. The day will be celebrated by us and many more families on a day we all call Juneteenth. Mazie scrunched up her face in puzzlement. I bet you're tired of hearing no all the time. Well, great-great-grandpa Mose heard no even more. Grandpa Mose
worked in fields that stretched all the way to sunset. He and the others would be bone tired, but they had to keep going, even if they wanted to quit. And they kept going. And as they worked and they thought about freedom. And before they finally went to bed at night, they prayed about freedom and made plans for change and for a better future. They ran north to freedom, following signs on quilts and a star in the sky. They sweat, struggled, bled, and cried till those cries were quieted by a single proclamation from a brave president. Grandpa Mose heard that proclamation read from the balcony of the hotel on that warm June day in Galveston, Texas. Grandpa Mose heard nothing but cheers, saw nothing but happiness, and felt nothing but pride shared by all those around him. The cheers became dancing, the dancing became celebrating. It went on into the night. Grandpa Mose and the others had found freedom. They continued to work, but this time they were paid for their hard work. So they worked, and they saved, and they never forgot the moment they heard, the moment that changed their lives forever. But things weren't perfect. Black people still struggled to stand shoulder to shoulder with white people. It wasn't easy, but they continued to work at it. They never gave up, and every year on Juneteenth, they remembered. They marched for jobs. They lobbied for schools. They shouted for opportunity. And every year on Juneteenth, they celebrated and remembered. They learned and grew. They forgave. They excelled and accomplished. They became heroes. Now, sweet Mazie, it's your turn to celebrate like great-great-great-grandpa Mose. It's your turn, Mazie, to eat some barbecue, drink strawberry pop, and try other delicious food. It's your turn to celebrate and to remember.